Good morning, Year 9. Sorry I'm not there with you today. I want to really apologise because I did promise you that we'd be doing some practical work. Obviously, with me not being there, that's not going to be the case. That said, I've got towards the end of this lesson, I've set up the initial drawing and marking out stage of our practical work. So when I am back, you'll go straight into working and cutting and using machines and tools without having to do any marking and drawing out. So that's really important that we get to that stage during this lesson. So we'll go through the theory bit at the start, we'll go into designing at the end. So it's really important that we get through that theory bit nice and quick. So pay attention, and it shouldn't be too difficult for us today. So as ever, we're looking at constructing the built environment. We're really going to be focused on health and safety. Like I said, you've got about 45-minute, I think it's 45-minute exam online that you'll have to do on this course, and it's mainly looking at health and safety, be it symbols and signs, rules and regulations, and fire extinguishers mainly. So let's just get to grips with the signs and symbols. So that's today's title on that screen there. Please write it down in your yellow books. So, really quick one. If you could just write this question down, why should we follow health and safety signage when working in a construction or workshop environment? So why on earth should I follow the signs that you can see on that slide right there? Why? What's the point? It's a pretty picture of a boot. What's the point? Why do I need to wear boots? Have a little think about that. Okay, write a couple of bullet points, a couple of really short answers as to why we have to follow what the signs say. Okay, here are a couple of answers that I've got from my experience, and these two answers pretty much sum up everything here. It allows you to work safely, so it stops you from getting injured, and it also stops you from injuring other people. Okay, so everything that we ask you to do in a workshop, be it written on a sign or when I tell you, actually, can you not do that? That's all down to prevent you from getting injured, even if you don't maybe agree with what we're asking of you. That's all there to prevent accident or injury. So continuing our starter here, have a little look around the workshop. There's a number of signs around and about. Can you create a list of those signs? Maybe a very quick sketch of what the sign you can see, the symbols on it, and then maybe what do you think that means? It shouldn't take no more than 5 minutes just to scan your eyes around the workshop and have a little look at where the signs are, because actually the location of the signs is also quite important. Have a little pause here whilst you go about doing that activity. Okay, so we looked at signage, and there's quite a lot of it. A building site would have a lot more signage. What other things sort of can inform you that there's danger in our workshop environment or in the school? There's a sort of variety of things we have around the school that will inform you that there might be danger. Okay. And at this point, I'd like you to think. I'd like you to then pair with the person next to you, talk through your answer or answers, and then we'll share as a class. We'll pause at this point. Okay, hopefully you've shared as a class the answers you have. I'm going to now click on to the answers I've got. So some of the obvious ones, there's a lot of alarms, fire alarms. We obviously have bells to move between classes, or at least we used to. But fire alarms are quite a big one to explain there's a danger. We also have flappy hand signals. Don't go this way, stop. Or, yeah, you need to come this way, quick, 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 move. Agile hand gestures are actually quite important in informing people of danger. And spoken word, obviously, if somebody's shouting stop at you, or don't go this way, or fire, fire, gives away maybe that there's something you need to do. Okay, and normally tone of voice and volume gives away where the severity of the danger that might be unfolding. And hopefully you can just see there in the image, lighting happens a lot in a variety of other areas. We don't actually have lighting up, lit up fire alarms here, but I can imagine some of our lighting we have for our fire exits that glow green. If you happen to ever travel to somewhere like Japan, they have lighting at the bottom of every corridor in every public building. and it's all emergency lighting. So in the event of an earthquake, or which often leads to fires, everyone goes down on the floor to crawl. And instead of having lights up above the doors, like you'll find all around the school, I'm sure, they're so used to having lots of fires and smoke and problems, they've got all the exit lights on the floor because you're crawling below the smoke. Really smart, really quite cool if you ever notice it. Anyway, hopefully those are sort of some of the ideas you have for what informs you of danger. So whose job is it to put up those signs? Once again, think, pair, share, and I'll come back to the answers in a moment. So here are our answers. Hopefully you've got some of these. Generally speaking, your employer, so in a building site, okay, your employer is the person responsible for putting these signs up. In a school environment, it'll be the health and safety officer, and we've got a couple of those for King Alfred's and the Vale Academy. So those are the people responsible for putting signs up. They're the ones ultimately that get told off if they're not in the right places and accidents happen. What about if you see a sign or see a place that you feel a sign should be? So there's a fire exit, which you know is a fire exit, but there's no fire exit sign. Or there's quite clearly a machine and there's not a goggles sign next to it. It's not your job. It really isn't. It's not really, but it is your responsibility to tell someone. You're not the one that's going to get in trouble for there not being a sign. But at the end of the day, if you've noticed it, okay, and then something happens, you're definitely going to feel bad that somebody got injured and you could have stopped it by telling somebody about it. So if you ever notice anything that looks dangerous, be it there's a missing sign or maybe a broken tool or machine, something that somebody might get injured, it is actually your responsibility to tell someone that you've noticed there's a danger. So that goes for on a building site and here in the workshop. Continuing on with signage, bet you never knew there's so much to do with signage here. That there's so many areas of knowledge. Everyone just sees signs, be it on a road, around a school, and you don't actually notice them, you don't think about them. They're there, they inform you, but actually at the end of the day, you don't actually stop to think about them. What colours and shapes, I suppose, mean different things. So we've got mandatory signs, prohibition signs, so saying you're not allowed to do something signs. Mandatory means you've got to do something. Prohibition, which you can tell I've struggled to say, means you can't do something. Warning signs, just giving you an idea that there might be something dangerous here. And emergency escape and first aid signs. I think that's probably the easiest one. Which colour do you think represents those signs? And I'd like you at this point to write the words like red sign equals, and then put your answer. Yellow sign equals, put your answer. Blue sign equals, put your answer. And then green sign equals, put your answer. Hopefully that's quite clear. I'll pause for a moment, give you a chance to do that, and then we'll click through and then we'll see what answers we've got. Yeah, click too early. So colours, this is where they all go. I'm not going to actually ask you at this point to create the bullet point list because I actually want you to get onto that bit of practical work I said. I will cover this and touch upon this again next lesson, but very quickly, red means stop, careful, don't do this, danger. Okay, like most things in nature, red is a warning. Okay, that's when you look at red animals, that's really a don't go here. Okay, yellow, once again, think back to nature, wasps, bees, they're stripy and black and yellow to warn you. Okay, to tell you don't come near me or I'll sting you. To be honest, wasps don't need to warn you, they're just going to come and sting you anyway because they're evil. But the example there is danger, high voltage. Okay, that just tells you just be careful. We can't get away from the fact that behind this panel is electricity because we need electricity, but don't go opening it unless you know what you're doing. Then blue, mandatory signs. So you'll see lots of blue goggle signs anyway in the workshop. That's saying if you're going to use this, you must wear goggles. And you'll see you must wear boots on a building site, you must wear a hard hat on a building site, those types of things. And then green is our emergency escape or first aid. I felt this was probably the easy one of the answers. Green is giving you some information. Okay, it's sort of saying, oh, the exit's over here if you need it. First aid kit's over here if you need it. Okay, it's not so much telling you what you have to do, it's telling you, if you need me, I'm over here, guys. So those are the different colours, and triangles and circles that have slightly different meanings, but I'm going to go on to that in a future lesson. Now, our activity. As I said last lesson, the intention is very much I want to get you onto practical work. It's just that it's fallen in such a way that I'm not there today. So we're going to be making a doorstop. This is not a long-term project. This is what I'm considering our benchmark project. I want to see how you work in a workshop. I want to teach you a few basic tools before we make our main project, which will be in a few weeks' time. So to make this doorstop, we're not unlike these ones that you see in the pictures, which are made out of solid blocks of wood. We're going to be making similar looking doorstops, but out of multiple layers of wood joined together, because it'll just be easier to cut thin layers. So we need to make sure that when we're layering up our material, we've drawn, take the bird idea at the top right there. We'd have to draw that bird shape twice onto the wood just to make it, glue it together and make it fat enough, thick enough for it to stop the door. A really thin door stop doesn't work very well. The reason why we're doing door stops, I'm sure you've noticed now that pretty much every door in the school is held open. That was a day's job I did over the summer holidays, making, I think it's 260 door stops for the school. So I thought, oh, you know what, I'll get Year 9 to try and make some door stops. I'm hoping beyond hope that your door stops are a lot more interesting than my little triangles. But your task, draw 2 side views of your doorstop. They need to be identical, so you need to think about how you're going to make them identical. You may want to just have a little discussion and share some ideas there. And then we'll start cutting them out next lesson. Try and make it more interesting than a triangle though. Okay. Hopefully that all makes sense, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with next lesson when we start cutting them out. Hopefully we've got to this stage in the lesson and we've covered all the earlier bits. As I say, looking forward to seeing you soon, and take care and goodbye.